to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review, very late review because the last episodes of it came out a while ago, but review of Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale game. Now specifically I'm reviewing this because, well, there's not a lot coming out right now, so I needed something to review. I hadn't got a chance to play it, and I play pretty much all the Telltale games, so it just made sense. So let's start into the key element of a Telltale game, and that is the story. This follows the Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and, of course, Drax. They are on a quest to kill Thanos. They kill Thanos, they find this crazy item. It starts messing with Star-Lord a bit, so he wants to find out more about it. No, them killing Thanos is not a spoiler because it happens in the first chapter of the game. You have killed him by the end of the first chapter of the first episode. It's not a big deal. What is a big deal is that this item can apparently bring people back from the dead, and that's crazy. Obviously, it bringing people back from the dead is something a lot of people would want. That power would be amazing for a lot of people, or horrific. Depends on your thoughts. One thing I'm going to say about this game is that story is overarching and it's there, but at the core of this game, it's like a drama between the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's kind of one of my complaints with this game. It gets kind of annoying. A lot of the shit going on is really obnoxious, it's really childish, it's high school emo bullshit. The story overall is okay, but that stuff starts to wear it down. And some of that will tie into the gameplay mechanics, which I'll get to in a minute. Okay, so next up is the audio. As always, it's a good game. You're not going to hear a lot of the songs from the movies. I did hear like one or two. They do have actual licensed music with lyrics that fit with the Guardians of the Galaxy. They don't use the word awesome mix on the tape, it's the rad mix. I assume they did that because they couldn't get the same songs that are on the awesome mix. The voice actors are not the actors from the movie, they are other voice actors, including Nolan North, who always does a great job. Everyone actually did a really good job. I did like their versions of the characters, their voices for the characters. The rest of the audio is pretty good. There were a few times where some of it disappeared on me, but not like intensely, not like entire scenes or anything, so it wasn't too bad. Onto the gameplay mechanics, which are the same as every other Telltale game. And I'm gonna say this just from the start. I wish they would mix that up a bit, or at least not every Telltale game, but the story-driven ones, the interactive narrative ones. I wish they would come up with some new mechanics, and yes, probably some new controls for those as well. That having been said, it's the same as what you've seen before. You pick what you want to say to people, you move around areas, explore them, find items that are useful, you know, basic puzzle-solving stuff. They did add something new to the exploration. When you're playing a Star-Lord, you can kick on his rocket boots and fly to different levels, but it doesn't really add that much. There's also an item called the time scanner, but there's only a couple of times you actually use it, and only one of those times was actually useful to me. Like I said, I'm going to talk about it here because it ties into the gameplay mechanics and the story. Some of the options you get, dialogue-wise, are just fucking terrible. I say that because you have two people arguing, and you have to pick one or the other to be right when they're both being assholes. If I was in that situation, I'd say, both of you shut up, you're being assholes. But no, you can't do that. You have to side with one and then go make up with the other later. It's obnoxious. I think that's poorly done from a gameplay element standpoint. I get that they're trying to limit you and make you choose one or the other, but it's bullshit when a reasonable person would just be like, you're both being assholes. As for the controls, they work pretty well, just like any Telltale game, but like I said, they've gotten old. And maybe they're fine for some games, but they use it in every interactive narrative game, and it's time for some of them to evolve. Maybe do something different for one of these games. But that having been said, the controls did work fine. They worked better than fine. They worked very well. I didn't run into any real problems with them. Lastly are the graphics. I enjoyed the graphics of this game. I had heard in advance that some people did not like them. I will say it's not like The Walking Dead where it's very comic book looking. Guardians of the Galaxy looks very cartoonish. It looks like a cartoon. And I like that. It looks like something you would see on TV. Except for with a lot more detail, because when they zoom in, you can really see textures of the skin and like subtle details in like Drax's tattoos. Maybe not in people's fur and or hair, but like on their skin, you can definitely see some interesting and subtle details. I will comment on this, however. I did find it weird that they picked like MCU versions of some of the characters, like Mantis and Star-Lord, And then they went with comic book versions like Gamora and Drax for their like art design. I thought that was kind of interesting. It didn't really bother me, but it was kind of weird. As for things that did legitimately bother me, there was a huge glitch in Chapter 3 that nearly made it so I couldn't beat the game. I had to fiddle around a lot with it to actually get the game to work properly. What it was doing was I was supposed to let somebody continue talking and then it would just stop and let me wander around, but I couldn't actually talk or interact with anyone. I got it to work by choosing an option that I didn't want to choose, but then it glitched again and I couldn't get the other conversations to go that were supposed to go. Eventually, I got it to work, but still, that was completely unacceptable. And it seems like a common enough problem that it should have been fixed. So originally, had I not found a way around that glitch, I was going to say to skip this game. That having been said, I would say if you could rent this game. Otherwise, it really is kind of a skip. The story's not that amazing. Some of it's just stupid shit and completely worth skipping. I am getting kind of tired of you being forced into certain dialogue options that people really wouldn't choose. But as far as this game goes, I do think it's one of the weaker Telltale games. So if you want a good interactive narrative, there are other games. Okay, so in the comments below, who is your favorite Guardian of the Galaxy? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.